Beautiful morning out here at Lake Munga.
Yes.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, well, good question. So we've got the second of two get-togethers of the leadership group, I guess you'd call it, across all three organisations. And we're talking about the future. The last session, which was last week, we talked a lot about where we are today, both our organisations and also the industry as a whole. Today we're really looking into the future, and what we've asked everyone in the room to do is a bit of homework, to come and bring some information, some data, some insights about where things are heading. A little bit about where the government is taking the rules and regulations, some conversation around what the various competitors and other players in the sector are doing, and some deeper thinking on what we think consumers might prefer, might choose, as they get more and more choice over the years ahead. We'll also talk about some options for our organisation, how we might structure ourselves and organise ourselves, how we might position ourselves, promote ourselves in the market.
So more on the next steps for the organisation. I know you sent out a communication to all of our staff and volunteers last week. Can you tell me a little bit more about those next steps?
We're entering into a time of making some decisions. I think I said when I started that we would try and clarify roles and exactly how this merger is going to look as fast as we could. So we're heading into that period. The session today is an input into that. The board is meeting next Saturday and then again the following Tuesday, so that's the 25th and 28th of March, to consider some alternatives, and at that point we'll be making a decision on the high level structure of the organisation, which is really about the executive roles and perhaps some of the key roles reporting to those. And they'll be announced no later than the 3rd of April, possibly a little bit earlier.
Now we're having these videos fortnightly at the moment, and on the other week, fortnightly, you're sending out communications. So will you continue to do that for now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I get pretty good feedback. People are interested in hearing what's going on, so I think that's a good way of working. And the emails and videos tend to trigger some questions and responses as well, so that's really great to be having that sort of conversation across the organisation, even with people all over the city and all over the state on any day. Obviously it's difficult to get us all in a room, but that's the way we're going to continue to work.
So the message is there's lots of stuff happening, but we'll continue to, you'll continue to tell everyone what's happening and keep people in the loop.
Look, absolutely, and I think in fact the opportunity for people to contribute to the thinking will only increase over the coming months. The work we're doing today with the leadership group and with the board, it's one perspective on the future. It's an initial conversation, and really what we're focusing on is getting our organisation in shape to move into the future. Exactly what that looks like is still evolving in front of our eyes, and everybody in the organisation has got an insight into that.
We had a Harmony Day BBQ to celebrate our volunteers across the three organisations. Can you tell me a little bit about that, Dan?
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. I think we had 60 or 80 people there, a lot of them volunteers and some staff in the Volunteer Task Force depot down in Safety Bay. I got the opportunity to meet dozens of the volunteers, and a lot of folks came up. We had a chat over a burger and a can of drink and talked about where things were heading, and people had some really particular comments and input that they wanted to have. A lot of talk about what we might be called, what the colours of the shirts might be, and more generally about how the organisation works today and what people are really proud of and what improvements they think might be possible. So it was such a heartwarming experience. Every time I get to go and meet people from across this organisation, I come away kind of excited about where we're at. It's a real strong feeling of starting from a position of strength, and at the same time enthusiasm and optimism about where we're heading over the next 2, 3, 5 years, with a focus ultimately on delivering more and better for clients of our services.
Now I know that the colour of the t-shirts is a hot topic and we're making steps towards that kind of naming and branding, and you've made a commitment that people will have a say in the process.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So look, people are having a say already, as I mentioned. I've got some good guidance on what colour we don't want the t-shirt to be. In a sort of formal sense, at some point in the next month or two, there'll be an opportunity for people to provide feedback, whether it's by survey or participating in a focus group or something along those lines. We haven't really got it settled yet. And people can talk about their preferences. We hope to be putting some options for how we might identify ourselves and promote ourselves, and ask people for their feedback, and perhaps some sort of a vote on what the preference is. Again, not really sure how that best works, but there are plenty of opportunity for people to have a say.
What happens next?
Yeah, so look, for the vast majority of people across the organisation, there'll be very little change. And one of the principles that we've been sticking to and will continue to stick to is that clients and frontline support workers won't be disrupted by the merger. And we're going to stick to that principle through the process. For a small number of people, there will be an obvious effect. Individuals will be given specific information about that, and a process will be managed as fast and as fair as we can possibly make it to get to the point where we're settling into a new kind of normal, and we can move on.